I'm over here looking at this watch hard right now. We don't need a repeat of last week. We don't need a repeat of earlier. We got past 20 seconds? All right then. Tori and Jonathan, I like those people tell their stories, and this is TJ Talks, the podcast. I know for a fact I talked about the importance of taking that first step, but then I realized I didn't break it all the way down how I needed to. Your first step doesn't have to be a giant leap. Your first step can be a baby step. And that baby step is important too. Baby steps are still steps. Might not be as much distance, but that baby step is still a step. I set out yesterday to take a baby step. I set out to take a baby step towards finally starting a documentary I had on my mind for about the last 2 or 3 years. Within that time, I knew what I wanted to tell, what I didn't want to tell, and I finally broke down how I wanted to tell it. And then a few days ago, or last week and sometime, I finally cleared my mind out from all the stuff that I wanted to get. I want to do this. I wrote it all down and got it all out of my head. The moment I did that, my creativity started to come back. It had been a while since I've been thinking creatively. And in that process, I finally pieced together the pieces for my documentary. It's like all well and good, written on paper, we can get to rolling. Earlier this week, I went from just trying to take that first step to it turning into something more. I set out to just record the ending and maybe the intro. I learned early on from a director who I can't remember right now and a story writer who I can't remember right now. I'm going to remember later and I'll let y'all know when I do. But it makes your life easier if you can write the ending to whatever your story you're trying to tell. Then you only have to focus on getting there and keeping it interesting. During that process, it dawned on me that, okay, I wrote it all out. So let me start by shooting the ending and then getting there. When I say I finally set up my camera, set up the lights, and started telling the story, I not only did the ending, I did the intro, first chapter, second, took a break, said, oh, I did a lot, put something in my stomach, and then I finished. It was supposed to be a baby step, but baby steps might actually be the key to starting. A baby step is still a step. After I took that first step, the next steps became easier. The first step is always the hardest. Even if it's a baby step, that baby step still means progress. That's what I gathered from that experience as a whole. And when I say it's really stuck on me how what was supposed to be a baby step turned into me essentially finishing all of my spoken parts or new footage that I needed to gather about me for a documentary I'd planned the prior week. So this idea that's been stuck in my head for years became a physical, tangible object, property, thing in the span of a week, just from taking a baby step that turned into a full step, steps, and so on and so forth. So with that said, baby steps are real steps. And I wrote out something to go along with it. You know, I do writing now. But start small. While that small step might seem small and insignificant to you, that small step is still a step. I'm going to compare this to swimming. Simply getting in the pool, if you've ever had a fear of swimming or pools in general, simply getting into a pool, even if it's just your toes, that's still a step. Nobody's asking you to go and jump right in the middle of the pool if you've never swum before. That's suicidal, and that's a bad experience for everybody involved. But putting your toes in is still a step. You got in the water. Might have just been your toes, but you got in the water. That's a small step, but it's still a step. And it's also the first step necessary for learning how to swim. So once you've gotten in the water, you're already 90% over your fear. Just do the rest with proper coaching and supervision and all that, but still do the rest. Small steps are still steps. Those are necessary for starting any process. If you are unsure how to tackle whatever process you're trying to tackle, be it creative, be it jobs, or be it with yourself, self-health, break it into smaller parts. Turn whatever that full step you're trying to take on into a baby step. I can only say in general, through some ideas, how you would do that for specific fields. It's up to you to know what you need to break down. Like, I'm sure some artists have not realized this, but your sketchbook, sketching out an idea is a step. It's a step one. Sketching that idea, getting it out of your head onto paper or into another media is step one. Whatever you turn that sketch into, whether it be a painting, a complete idea, or whatever, that's still step one. It could be a baby step, it could be a doodle. Whatever, it's out of your head, it's on the paper, it's a step. And same thing goes for photographers. Just studying light and looking up other people's ideas and breaking down how they got there. That's a step one for improving your craft. And then for business owners, making your first sale, step one. Or if you don't even know what your product is, figuring out your product, that's a step one. It could be a baby step, just doodling it out. Baby steps are still steps, and we all got to start somewhere. And I am Torian Jonathan. This has been TJ Talks, the podcast, and I hope to hear from you next week. Later.